and felt really comfortable with the team at Sovereign, the transparency, and sort of the kind of long-standing name and reputation that you guys have got.
Yeah, okay.
Very quick bit of background about ourselves. When we started off Compare Funerals, the most important thing was making sure the funds are only used for their intended purpose.
Yeah.
So we looked around and we came across Sovereign just by process of elimination, really, looking at a few different ones, and felt really comfortable with the team at Sovereign, the transparency, and sort of the kind of long-standing name and reputation that you guys have got.
Yeah. Okay, great. Because so the trust is based in Guernsey.
Yeah.
So essentially, the money's held, the client's money is held in trust in Guernsey, and they, when you require it, you contact them, they send it over to you, and it covers the plans that have been paid for.
Exactly. So once the funds have been deposited in the trust, we can only access them for a limited number of reasons.
Yeah.
Which is, as you say, if a client sadly passes away, we have to provide a death certificate and an invoice from a funeral director.
Yeah.
And the other reason is, of course, if a client wishes to cancel their policy for whatever reason, we then have a cancellation in writing we pass on to the trustees to then release the funds.
I know there's quite a few areas that are not as highly regulated out here in Spain, and I think what you've done is very similar to what we've done ourselves as well. We've kind of adopted that more robust and kind of more challenging legislation and stuck by that, because I think at some point it is going to come into force anyway. I think globally we can see this, regulations getting tighter around the world in pretty much every industry, and especially when, although it's funeral plans, but it is still classed as financial. People are investing the money and getting some return in the end. And I think it's very sensible, and I think we're seeing this with a lot of companies kind of getting ahead of the curve. Because I think from a business planning perspective, if you've got it in there early, the change when it does come in, it's not going to hurt you as much. And I think it's a very sensible way of doing things. And also, I guess you get the same kind of feedback from your clients. I think a lot of our clients are very happy with the level of security we give them, and having things like that in place, it just gives you that that extra edge. And just at the end of the day, when people are investing, whether it's through a funeral plan or making financial investments, security is the main thing they look for. People, the vast majority of my clients is, the question I've been asked most is, what happens if something goes wrong to you? What happens if the company goes bust, or this goes bust, or that goes bust? And my answer to it is simply, we don't manage the money for you, so we advise on where it should be. And if we're not there, that money's still held somewhere. It's got your name on it, and it's safe. And I think that's a very, very important thing that, the companies, if you're looking to have that track record and keep going, you need to have those kind of things in place.
Exactly. And to touch on what you said there, I mean, Spain is a little bit behind some of the other Western countries when it comes to regulation.
Yeah.
And we try and act as if we were regulated. There isn't a regulatory body in Spain for funeral plans.
Yeah.
But as I said, we act and try to follow the guidelines as if we were, for no doubt, and hopefully the regulation does come into Spain.
Yeah.
And then we are pre-prepared and ready to crack on with it. Although doing things like this does incur extra costs, it does allow us to be able to provide the service at a much higher standard.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think people are looking for that now as well. There's I think in every industry, there's a fair price to pay for things, and it's not always going for the cheapest option. It's going for the companies that are solid. They've got those things in place. And it's there's a slight premium on that, but it's worth paying for. It's that peace of mind again. I think that's so important. Having that peace of mind is, you guys yourself, you've got investments that you have with us, and so we've got a very open relationship. We talk a lot. So we occasionally socialise over a glass of wine. And it's
always
golf days. And I think it's important, and that those relationships are founded on those foundations. And I think without having that, that solid foundation, that level of trust that you can see as well. You can see everything we've got in place. And I'm very big on that. For anything that I do, I don't mind paying a little bit extra sometimes if I know the service I'm getting is good and I know that everything's been done in the right way. And again, going back to what I was saying before, regulation is tightening on a global scale. I mean, we see it every day in our office. We deal with lots of different jurisdictions, not only Guernsey where you guys are. We've got office in Mauritius, the Middle East, the parts of Africa, the parts of Europe. It's a real global company, and we find that the regulations in different areas. Some of them are a lot stricter than others, but everybody's kind of coming towards that. The jurisdictions with low regulations few and far between now, and it's more difficult to work with them. And and I think it's a very, very important thing. So, and just in general, then. So you said you chose Spain. So what was what made you choose Spain as a destination?
My background after leaving university was life insurance, and I had a job offer to come out here to provide life insurance as a brokerage again. After doing that for a while, and kind of got to the peak you can, and I always had ambitions to kind of do something on my own and not have to answer to too many people. I'd met Ben a couple of years after moving here. And Ben will tell you, but he grew up here his whole life, and we realised that that the funeral process is quite strange out here. Very different than what a lot of expats or immigrants are used to. So we thought that here could be a good market to try and help people.
Okay, fantastic.
So I was born here, grew up here, and my father passed away here. So even though I was born here, grew up here, speak Spanish, had to experience at a young age, only 18 years old, my father passing away. And it was all very quick, as it is here in Spain. Didn't know what we were doing. Ended up costing an absolute fortune because we had nothing in place. So doing this by helping other people and not having them go through the same thing that I had to go through. It's a good thing.
And it's not obviously I'm such wood. Both my parents are still here, fortunately. I recently lost my last surviving grandparents, but I know it's a tough time, and it's
very hard.
It's not a nice it's not a nice time, and I think having something in place to anything that can help you through that, it's
definitely
it's absolutely.
But nobody thinks straight in those circumstances, and I believe what happens with your family. Some funeral directors may take advantage of that.
Definitely,
So having things in writing, set in stone, prepaid in most circumstances, it does ease a lot of stress.
No, absolutely.
Making it that bit easier for them when the time does come that they've got one point of contact, that relays with them, with the funeral director. Just makes everything so much easier.
No, absolutely. I don't think I'm talking out of turn here at all. But I mean, if you got a fantastic
weather, the weather is a bonus. I'm not going to lie. The golf is fabulous as well.
I don't think I've ever paid more for a pint than I paid for a half back home. There's a lot to like about Spain. However, and this is coming from somebody who lived in France for a number of years as well, the administration here can be an absolute nightmare. It's never easy. Moving to a new country, for all the benefits you get and all the the upsides to it. Some of those downsides can be really frustrating. I mean, I lived in Paris for a number of years. The amount of people who left because they just couldn't handle it. It was just so difficult to get anything done. Have you had any personal experiences from being down here? Obviously, if you're born here, it's probably a little bit easier. From your side, but have you encountered anything difficult since you've been here?
Well, I'm embarrassed to say my Spanish isn't very good, so.
He depends a lot on me.
I do depend a lot on Ben. So I've just put my my little girl, who's 4, into Spanish state school. We've taken her out of an international school. And we don't want her growing up like me. So we put her in a Spanish state school. So I no doubt in the next few months I'm going to experience a lot more of the of the bureaucracy.
Schools can be quite difficult, and also having a perfectly bilingual child can be quite embarrassing at times as well. I was my son constantly tells me not to speak Spanish because I'm embarrassing. And last night we took him to change his football boots, and I explained to the woman, wrongly as it turns out, that I thought I was saying these boots were fine when he just had the little plastic bags on, but when he got home and put his big socks on, they didn't fit, so we need a bigger size. Rather than saying calcetines, I said calzoncillas. So I said, when he put his pants on, all of a sudden the boots are too small. We've got this 7-year-old kid,
embarrassed. Oh no,
red face. Daddy, I can't believe you said that. So I'd kind of stick to the English until the Spanish is at a level, because it's
I'll be using my daughter as a translator.
We had a little experience like that one time, didn't we? When we were looking for furniture for the office, and we were looking everywhere for these chairs. He goes to me. He goes, I really think we should go for this brand Sia. This Sia seems like it's a really good brand. I said, Sia means chair.
We're down in Conforama. I see the Sia man everywhere. And what's the word for trainers?
Zapatos.
Zapatos. I thought that was a brand of Nikes as well. And Ben corrected me. It wasn't a brand of Nikes.
Zapatos shoes.
It's all part of the fun.
Exactly. I mean, you know, it would be boring if not. If it was easier, then everybody would do it.
Exactly. Yeah.
So,
yeah.
you know, it is lovely, and it's lovely to see the other cultures.
Yeah,
you know, we deal a lot with not just British and Irish expats, Americans, Dutch, French, Belgians. And it is great speaking to all different nationalities because everyone has their own kind of types of stories.
Yeah,
although the bureaucracy may be a bit more similar to Spain in France, for example, there are still differences. There are still things they struggle with, and it is fun. It is great fun. I'm from Devon in the UK, and it's not very diverse there. You know, you see farmers, and that's about it.
Yeah.
So coming to a place like this where there's so many different nationalities, it is fantastic.
Yeah. It's no, I feel exactly the same as well. Just having that, that international feel about it, and it's you know, you're part of that community as well. Kids can go out and play, and they're meeting kids from different nationalities, learning different cultures, and it's very enriching. So I think my son's probably going to have a lot better childhood than I had growing up on the mean streets of Nottingham. But I got to live next to the city ground, so I get to go and see them every week. He gets to do it once in a blue moon.
So, pros and cons to life, huh?
Yes. But that's one thing I did instill in him. So, like, regardless, you were born in Spain, kind of got that bicultural, then you're half Spanish, half English. When it comes to the football,
you have to be a Forest.
Support England. You support Nottingham Forest. The rugby, support England. Anything else, it's up to you.
My dad was the same with me. You know, had to support Liverpool because you support Liverpool. When England play, you support England.
Yeah.
Even though you're born and raised here.
I mean, being an England fan's not too bad at the moment. We've getting to a few finals in both the men's and the women's games, so a lot better than what we're used to growing up.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
You know, I thought it would be more difficult. I mean, although, having said that, the Spanish did beat us in the Euros a few years ago, which was hard to take living here.
It was a tough one. Tough night, that one. And so you plan on staying here long term now then? So that's, obviously you've got your own family and...
Yeah, this is home now. Yeah. I mean, the world's becoming a smaller place, isn't it? You know,
absolutely,
you know, I have family, as I said earlier, I live in Devon, but I've got a lot of family in Liverpool, and in some cases it's easier to get from here to Devon than it is to get to Devon from Liverpool. So as the world's getting smaller, this is now home.
Yeah, fantastic. Okay, I think that's about it. Brilliant. So I think we should crack on, have a couple of beers.
And let's get practicing for next year.
Get on the driving range.
Hold our title.